Good morning, Texas. It is March 6, 2022 at 8:36 a.m. We have groundbreaking news as the Mexican army led by Santa Anna attacked the Texican army, killing what we know as half of their army.
Yes, Clint. The Mexican army were sent to take over the Alamo. Santa Anna led 7,000 men as they marched in the Alamo, killing half the Texan army. They were ruthless, taking almost no prisoners. The Mexicans also suffered severe losses as they lost what is estimated to be between 600 and 1,600 men. Back to you, Clint.
The Texan defenders were easily overpowered by the giant force of Santa Anna and his men. They easily took the Alamo and turned the tide in war for independence. The Alamo became a symbol for heroic resistance and a rally for their independence.
Yes, Clint. You're even told we have a live reporter on the scene, Alex Addig, interviewing Juan Soin and William Travis at the scene of the battle as we leave the studio. Down to you, Alex.
Thanks, Darius. Today we are here with Juan Seguin. Mr. Seguin, we have a few questions for you today. What was your main job in the Battle of the Alamo?
My main job in the Battle of the Alamo was forming a militia of Texans to resist President Santa Anna's oppressive rule.
Do you think you were a major part in Texas getting its independence?
Yes, as I'm known as one of the heroes of the Alamo War.
How did you manage to overcome Mexican rule?
Me and Tejano troops fought alongside the Anglos at the Battle of San Juancito.
Why did you decide to help Texas instead of the Mexicans?
I felt I needed to fight Mexico's tyranny, so I helped Texas fight for its independence.
So, Juan, were you one of the original few people in Texas?
No, I wasn't one of the original 300 people living in Texas.
Some are saying that you dislike Anglos. Why is that?
I didn't dislike the Anglos. I was completely fine with them. Some people thought they wanted to take my land.
My bad. Thank you, Juan. Now on to our next guest. Mr. Travis, tell me, why did you decide to fight for the Texans?
I fought for Texas to gain independence from Mexico.
How did you manage to hold out for 13 days?
Well, we fought off the Mexican army at the fort for 13 days until we ran out of supplies.
Did you receive many reinforcements during the war?
No, we received a very small amount of no more than 200 reinforcements.
Do you think you were a major part in Texas getting its independence?
I feel that I was a key figure in gaining independence for Texas as I fought for 13 days defending the fort in San Antonio as a commando.
What was your main job in the Battle of the Alamo?
During the Battle of Alamo, my main job was to command the Texan army along with James Bowie.
Were you able to overcome Mexican rule? If so, how?
Unfortunately, we failed to overcome the Mexican army, which was led by Santa Anna during the Battle of Alamo.
Thank you, William. Well, folks, that's all for today. And thank you for tuning in to KWOLG TV 6 o'clock news.
Welcome back to Channel 7 with Zoe and Libby. Breaking news at the Battle of the Alamo. 1,800 Mexican soldiers just captured the Alamo. Texas wanted to declare independence from Mexico, so they separated into two forts.
Santa Anna's troops then surrounded the Alamo. The battle was a bloodbath lasting 12 days, when the Texans unfortunately ran out of ammo. The Mexican soldiers stormed the Alamo, killing all but 5. We have Stone Sabin at the site.
Yes, I'm here with Davy Crockett. Davy, what happened at the battle?
Well, we started off with 150 men and 18 cannons. A few days into the battle, we got some more support, and that brought us up to about 200 men. I mean, there were people everywhere, doing everything. Fighting, writing letters to our allies, all while being surrounded by the enemy.
Davy, how long did you and your comrades last?
We lasted 12 rough days. We held on pretty tight. We couldn't let them have the Alamo. On the final day, we finally ran out of ammo. After that, we barely lasted 90 minutes. In the end, almost all of us were dead. Only 5 of us were left from their massacre. The Mexicans had won that battle.
Davy, how do you think this will affect the rest of Texas and maybe even the world?
Personally, I think it will give the rest of the Texans encouragement to go on and not waste the lives lost to the Alamo. Maybe it'll even give courage and motivation to win the war for independence in Texas.
I am here with the President of Mexico and the general who oversaw the battle, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Mr. President, why did it take so long to capture the Alamo?
The Texan defenders were very stubbornly refused to give it up. We wanted to wait for reinforcements to arrive in order to bolster our numbers to give us a higher chance of success.
Do you fear that this will inspire more Texans to fight against you?
Texas losing will not inspire more Texans. If anything, it will crush what's left of their morale.
And finally, who do you think is going to win this war?
I believe the Texan Revolution will be crushed like the troops at the Alamo.
Thank you.
Wow, that was quite a story. That's it for today. We'll see you soon on Channel 7 News with Zoe and Libby.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Lily Ray, and this is my co-host, Cody. And this is our 6 o'clock channel with 4 News. As tensions rise, more and more people in Texas join the rebellion.
Today, Santa Anna has sent troops to Alamo, and we have our top reporter on the scene. Stephen Austin was jailed after Santa Anna found a letter of possible treason against the Mexican Republic.
Santa Anna sent troops after he put Stephen Austin in jail. He said, quote, "This is rebellion. It is now day 8 of fighting. It is March 2nd and February 27th. William Travis sent the letter all around the world."
Around 1,789 deaths marked the site and put it that between 1,000 to 1,600 Mexican troops and have died, and 189 Texans have died.
Now to our on-site reporter, Michaela Noder.
Thanks, and hello everyone. I'm here with Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, Mexican president.
Sure are.
Why did you send troops to Texas? Did you think that they were a threat to Mexico?
I sent troops because Americans were getting heated because they had to follow Mexican laws, and the documents were getting in Spanish. Also, I felt like it was getting way too intense.
Why do you think that the Americans were traveling to Texas?
The Americans traveled to Texas because they wanted to help, and they were following Stephen Austin to help him pursue his dad's dream.
In the Battle of the Alamo, what did you think in the beginning? Did you have an idea of what the battle was going to be like?
At the beginning, I didn't feel nervous at all. I was even agreeing to most of Texas's reforms. That wasn't until Stephen Austin wrote that letter. Then I was infuriated, and no, I didn't think the battle would end up this way. I was very shocked about it. I didn't think Texas would actually get their freedom, but they did.
Thank you, Santa Anna. And now back to the newsroom.
Bum, bum, bum.
Hello and welcome back to Buenos Dias, Mexico. Or for our American viewers, Good Morning Mexico. I'm Hannah Fritz.
And I'm Gracie Phillips. And we're coming in hot with historical facts that have the acts and impacts.
Stephen Austin, an aspiring lawyer, colonized Texas in 1821 to fulfill his deceased father's dream of colonizing Texas.
Austin was fighting for independence for Texas and almost received it until Mexican officials found a letter written by Austin.
Mexican officials considered Austin's letter an act of treason and betrayal.
And race writer Santa Anna determined a 1-year sentence for Stephen Austin.
After Texans became aware of this, they started undertaking rebellious behavior.
Santa Anna decided to issue more troops to Texas to prevent these rebellious acts. Along with this, he also has started taxing Texans and also closed off immigration into Texas, allowing no Americans to enter.
Now, for more information, we will head down to our out-of-the-office reporter, Sierra Taylor, standing by with Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna.
Thanks, Anna, and and hello, Santa Anna. What were your thoughts about this letter that caused rebellion in your people?
Well, Austin has thrown Mexico in despair. He's been beginning to rebel against Mexico, which he will fail at. Mexico is a proud, strong country, and we will punish any rebellious behavior.
How do you feel about Austin being sent to prison for a year?
I think he deserves it. I really do. We read the letter and we try to find the intention of the letter and what it was supposed to do. The letter was a form of treason and it will not be tolerated.
Why do you feel as such?
Well, it's just Mexican people who have worked so hard for independence. It's almost like they've forgotten about that. Like how they've forgotten about our freedom and how proud we are to be called Mexico.
Has it been hard trying to rebuild your economy?
Well, our economy is great. It's always been great and it always will be great.
Thank you so much for the great input, Santa Ana. I really appreciate it. Now back to the station for some further input.
Welcome back. After Austin was released from jail, he got right back to work.
Austin, with the help of Sam Houston, led the Texans to independence after many long battles. These brave men are what got Texas its independence and its entrance into the United States.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gracie.
And I'm Hannah. Adios, Mexico.
Breaking news live. Today we are talking about the Battle of San Jacinto.
The two sides that were in this battle were the Texans and the Mexicans. They were fighting because the Texans wanted independence, but they wrote a note saying that if they didn't get their independence, they were going to rebel against the Mexicans.
The war started on April 21st, 1836. The Texans had broken into the Mexicans' camp on April 26th, killing half of the Mexicans.
After the war, the Texans had won and gained independence and then were called the Lone Star Republic. Texans wanted to become part of the U.S., but the U.S. said no because they would have been a slave state, outruling the free states.
And now to our interviewer Lainey talking to Samuel Houston, the Texas commander.
Thank you, Emily. Today I'm here with Sam Houston at San Juancito. I'm going to ask Sam Houston some questions about the victory of San Juancito. How did you feel after winning the battle at San Juancito?
After the battle, I felt relieved because Texas was no longer under the control from the Mexicans.
How many soldiers did you lose during the war?
During the battle, we lost 10 Texas soldiers.
How did your army sneak up on the Mexican army?
We snuck up on the Mexicans by creeping up the San Jacinto River. When we got to the camp, we surrounded the Mexicans and charged and attacked the Mexicans and killed half of them in 18 minutes.
How did the battle start?
The battle started by over 100 angry men wanting to get payback on the Mexicans after losing the Alamo and Goliad. So we attacked the Mexicans and won the Battle of San Jacinto.
Thank you for answering all my questions, Sam Houston. Now back to Emily.
Thank you, Lainey.
And that is it for today's Breaking News Live talking to Sam Houston.
Breaking news, the Battle of the Alamo, a 13-day battle in 1836.
A 13-day battle? Wowza.
Yep, between the Texans and Mexico.
Now what was this huge battle about?
Well, Texans wanted independence. They didn't agree with what Mexico was doing.
Why not? I love to live in Mexico.
Well, now back then, most Texans were from America. So when all legal documents were Spanish, they hated it. Or when they had to start paying taxes, nope.
Ooh, interesting.
Yep, we brought a special guest just to show us in depth.
Who would that be, Cadence?
The leader of Mexico, President Antonio Lopez D. Santa.
Oh my god, I'm such a big fan.
Haha, anywho, to you, Tabitha, all the way in the Alamo.
Alright, so today I'm here with President Antonio Lopez D. Santa Ana. We'll be talking about the Battle of Alamo.
Hello, I'm President Antonio Lopez D. Santa Ana, the current president of Mexico.
So, Santa Ana, how long were you president?
I was president from 1833 to 1835 during the Battle of the Alamo, but I served more terms after the war from 1839 to 1855.
Interesting. Okay, well, what made you want to be president?
I want to reconquer Mexico and bring it back to its former glory.
How long did the Battle of Alamo last?
It took 13 days of fighting against the Texans.
Do you know when the Mexican army arrived at the Alamo?
Yes.
What was the date they arrived?
They arrived February 23rd, 1836.
Was the battle at the Alamo tough?
Yes, of course it was tough. It was one of the toughest battles of the Texas Revolution.
How many soldiers did the Texans have?
The Texans had at least 200 soldiers.
Well, Santa Ana, do you remember who won the Battle of Alamo?
Of course I do. The Mexican army won by the Texans running out of ammunition.
When did the battle end?
It ended March 6, 1836.
Alright, well that is all today. Thanks for coming in with us today.
Yup.
Back to you, Cadence.
Thanks, Tabitha. Wow, I never knew so much about the Battle of the Alamo.
Neither did I.
It's crazy how much we learned from two people.
For real, I wish I could be in the Alamo right now so I can see him. President Antonio Lopez and duh.
Oh, Jalen, you crack me up.
Well, thank you for tuning in with us. Have a great night, and remember to tune with us at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Good night.
Make sure to remember about the Alamo.
And Mr. President Antonio Lopez Santa Ana.
Breaking news. The Battle of the Alamo is concluded. Hello, my name is Ashton Solomon, and I will be talking and giving facts about the Battle of the Alamo. The Battle of the Alamo lasted from February 23, 1836 to March 6, 1836. Mexico won independence from Spain in 1821. Since the battle, more than 2.5 million people a year visit the Alamo. Texas purchased the Alamo, later acquiring property rights to all surrounding areas. The Battle of Alamo became a symbol of heroic resistance.
At the Battle of the Alamo, the Texans may have lost, but they didn't stop without a fight, killing between 600 and 1,600 Mexican soldiers, while the Texans had 183 soldiers. From March to May, the Mexican forces once again occupied the Alamo. Slavery and other issues were the driven issue in the Battle of the Alamo. Later in the Battle of San Juancito, the Texican soldiers started screaming, "Remember the Alamo," and they defeated the Mexicans in 18 minutes after they snuck up on Santa Anna and his men in San Juancito. Now onto the on-scene report.
Thanks, Ashton. Hi, I'm Lillian Thompson. Today we'll be interviewing Juan Seguin. Now on to the question. What started the battle?
Santa Anna found a letter Austin had written saying that if he didn't accept Austin's terms, he would support breaking away from the Mexican rule, and Santa Anna was furious and decided to jail Stephen Austin, and after that it all went downhill.
Why did you decide to join the Texans?
I joined the Texans because I wanted to rid the area of Santa Anna's political rules.
How old were you when you joined them?
I was 29 when I joined the Texans.
How long were you guys in battle?
We were in battle for 13 days till everything went quiet and all but 5 Texans were dead.
What did you do for the Texans?
I translated for them and I organized a new company that was rear guard for Houston's army.
How did you escape?
I only escaped because William Travis sent me out to see reinforcements.
How many Tejanas did you lead?
I led 25 Tejanas into battle and unfortunately none of them made it out.
What was your job before joining the battle?
Before going into the Battle of the Alamo, I was into different political positions and various jobs like running a newspaper store and things.
After the battle, what job did you take on?
I was on the Committee of Claims and Accounts and was chairman on military affairs and went on to be a mayor and do other things.
Were there any consequences for you joining the Texan side and going against Mexican rule?
I had to flee to Mexico with my family due to multiple reasons, some being Anglo and squatters and business correspondence with Mexico incriminated me and Jen, and so fear of my safety and my family's safety, we fled. But later I returned to Texans despite the consequences, where I was able to reestablish myself.
Well, thank you for answering all of our pesky questions, Juan. It really helped us understand about the history and past behind the Battle of the Alamo.
Good morning, America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rick Tamlin, joined by my partner, Rob Burgundy.
Thank you, Brick. Today we have an interview with famous colonel for the Texans Army, William Travis.
William Travis was an American lawyer, soldier, and now a lieutenant for the Texas Army.
He led the Texans Army into battle at the Alamos, where they would battle the Mexicans. The Mexicans then went on to kill all 189 Texans. The Texans would hold off the Mexicans for 13 violent days after running out of ammunition.
Now down to Dylan in the Alamos.
Yes!
Thanks, Brick. Today I'll be interviewing William Travis about the Alamo. William, what was your role in the Alamo?
I was the commander of the Alamo. As the Mexicans gathered forces, I sent dispatches to follow Texans pleading for reinforcements.
Who sent you to help the Alamo?
Governor Smith assigned me and 30 men to the Alamo.
What was your plan to win the Alamo?
And my role of the Alamo was, the commander of the Alamo. I repeatedly attempted to rally help.
Why did you write the note that said victory or death?
I wrote victory or death because it was a personal plead aid for the Alamo garrison.
Good morning, I'm McKenna Bearden.
And I'm Bailey Carrington. Today we are here in the studio to talk about the Texican revolt against Mexico.
In 1820, Moses Austin, a U.S. citizen, asked the Spanish government in Mexico for permission to settle in sparsely populated Texas. Land was granted, but Austin died soon thereafter. So his son, Stephen F. Austin, took over the project. In 1821, Mexico gained independence from Spain, and Austin negotiated a contract with the new Mexican government that allowed him to lead some 300 families to the Brazos River. Under the terms of the agreement, the settlers were to be Catholics, but Austin mainly brought Protestants from the southern United States. Other U.S. settlers arrived in succeeding years, and the Americans soon outnumbered the resident Americans. In 1826, a conflict between Mexican and American settlers led to the Fredonian Rebellion. In 1830, the Mexican government took measures to stop the influx of Americans. In 1833, Austin, who sought statehood for Texas in the Mexican Federation, was imprisoned after calling on settlers to declare it without the consent of the Mexican Congress. He was released in 1835.
Now we are going to hand over the mic to Danny, our interviewer, to see what is going on over at the Texan revolt against Mexico.
Here with Stephen Austin. Why did you want to colonize in Texas?
So I could pursue my dad's dream.
How did you get families to settle down in Texas?
It was safe down in Texas. We didn't have to lock our doors. It was just perfect down there.
All right, now I'm here with Santa Ana. Why did you imprison Austin?
Because he made a rebellion.
Why do you like Santa? Gosh! Do you like Austin? If not, why?
No, he went against me and did us all wrong.
Why did you march in Texas with an army?
To quell a rebellion primarily by U.S. settlers there.
That's all I have for today.
There you have it for your news this morning. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Check back with us later for more news about the Texans revolt against Mexico.
Good morning, America. And today we have a story of the San Jacinto battle.
It was a tragedy, but it was worth it for the Texan independence. The San Jacinto battle lasted about 18 minutes, and afterward there were many deaths for the Mexicans. There were 630 deaths, with 208 injuries and 730 captured.
For Texans, there were 9 deaths and 30 wounded. The battle had the 2 generals, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna Perez de Lebrun for the Mexicans, and for the Texans, Samuel Houston.
They fought along the San Jacinto River near the site of what to be the city of Houston. The battle ensured the success of American settlers in the Texas Revolution.
Legend holds that Santa Anna was slow to respond to the assault because he was romantically involved with the women when the attack unfolded, so that might be the reason Texans won.
Our reporter Drake Taylor is interviewing the 2 generals, Sam Houston and Santa Anna, at this very moment.
I am here in San Jacinto with Sam Houston after the battle. What do you have to say about the battle, Sam?
Well, it was a battle where many men died, and we earned our freedom. There were many casualties. We captured some of their weapons and supplies.
How do you think these other men thought about this victory?
They were solemn about the deaths, but they remembered the Alamo and the Goliad, and this made them want to fight for the cause.
What are you going to do about Santa Anna? Do you have him captured too?
Well, he signed over a treaty, and now we own Texas.
What do you think you are going to do with Texas? Do you have any plans on joining the United States of America?
We think that we will stay as the Lone Star Republic, but most people want to join the USA. But you can't always tell what you're going to do with nearly 1 million square miles of land.
Thank you, Sam Houston. So, Santa Anna, how do you feel about the Battle of San Jacinto?
I don't feel so great. I lost a lot of men in that battle, and some of them got in prison.
Calm down here. We know you all lost men here. Santa Anna, what are your plans for Texas?
We as Mexicans will sign the treaty so Texas is independent.
So what does that mean for your Mexicans in Texas? Do they have to go back to Mexico or stay in Texas?
Yeah, the Mexicans in Texas have to go back to Mexico.
How are your men reacting to the loss of San Jacinto?
They're mad and embarrassed. They lost to an army with only 900 people when we had 1,300 people.
Back to the studio.
Hello everyone, and we're back to say that this is the morning news for this Tuesday.
Thank you for watching the morning news. I hope you have a good day.
Good morning, Americans. My name is Colton.
And my name is Presley.
On today's news, we are going to talk about the Battle of the Alamo. Where between 400 and 600 Mexican soldiers were killed. Not everyone in the war was killed. The survivors were women, children, servants, and slaves.
So please take a moment of silence for the 182 to 257 Texans that were killed. We will be talking to Suzanne Dixon and William Travis. Now on the scene of the battle right now is Damien, so here he is.
So, I am now on the scene with Susanna Dickinson and William Travis. So, Mr. Travis and Mrs. Dickinson, how are your days going?
Yeah, my day's going good.
My day's going good as well, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, how about we ask you guys some questions?
Okay.
Okay. First question for you, Mrs. Dickinson. What important role did you play in the Alamo War?
I don't have an importance. I was just a witness, so I got some important stuff to share.
Okay, and Mr. Travis, what was your importance?
I was a commander.
Alright, nice. So, would you say the battle went well or not for your army?
Yeah, I lost about 200 men during battle.
Ah, well, I apologize for that. I hope they rest well.
Yeah, I know, I hope they do too.
So, Mrs. Dickinson, do you have anything to say about what happened?
It was a tragedy, but the Texans finally got their independence. We also had about 189 deaths in the battle, but they fought for the peace they love.
Cool. So, did you do anything at all to help people during the war?
No, not really, but I was just a messenger for the people during the war.
Alright. Was that job at all dangerous for you?
No, not really. All I did was just warn the people that the battle was going to happen.
Okay, so this is the last question for both of you. When you won, were you happy for the independence of Mexico?
Yes.
Yeah, but we lost a lot of people during it.
Okay, so that's it for now. Back to the desk.
Okay, well, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time on Good Morning Texas.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome to the morning show. Today we are talking about the Battle of the Alamo. Today we have Lane Foster at the Battle of the Alamo to interview David Crockett. The Battle of the Alamo lasted about 13 days with 1,000 to 1,600 Mexicans killed.
The Battle of the Alamo started on February 23rd, 1836, and now we are headed to the Battle of Alamo, where Lane Foster will be interviewing Davy Crockett.
Hello, Mr. Crockett.
Hello, Lane Foster.
So I'm here today interviewing you on the morning show, and I'm going to be asking you a few questions about the Battle of Alamo.
Okay, well, I grew up in Texas and I joined the Tennessee militia in 1813.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yes, I was also a veteran of the Creek War and the War of 1812.
Was there any more that happened during your younger or adult life that happened before the war?
I was also a bear hunter.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, why did you become a member of the Captain William B. Harrison?
Oh, because he was in the volunteer company.
Good to know. So after that, why did you then join with Grant's Faden?
Good question. So it was because of politic fortunes, telling his family and hoping to be elected.
So I hear that you're also remain one of the most popular figures associated with the Alamo.
Yes, I am.
What else is interesting about the Battle of Alamo?
Well, there was also a national state park about, and more in honor of me.
Good to know.
I was also the last one standing up at the Battle of Alamo.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett, for your time. Now back to the studio with Lucas and Mallory.
That was very interesting. Thank you. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you, Lane Foster, for interviewing Mr. Crockett.
Hope that you learn more about him like we did. Have a good night.
Hello everyone. We have some breaking news. Stephen Austin has been migrating Americans into the Mexican-controlled territory of Texas. He has been going to Texas with 300 families.
Yes, he says he wants to colonize Texas, and he has gotten permission from the Mexican government. We have reporter Brady Davick on the scene. How does it look down there?
Well, the site is truly amazing. We have nearly 300 people walking to colonize Texas. I'm here with Stephen Austin, who is given permission by the Mexican government to do this. Stephen, what made you want to do this?
Well, it was a dream of my father's to do this. I'm fulfilling it for him.
That is very nice. I'm sure he would be very proud of you for doing that.
Well, now that you brought it up, I actually never wanted to colonize here. I wanted to be a lawyer, but I am a loyal son, and fulfilling my dad's dream was something I was willing to do.
Were there any other reasons for leading the 300 here in Texas?
Well, other reasons was because there was no organized amount of land allowed towards each man without family, so we came here where we would have enough land for everyone.
Was it worth it? Well, was it worth it when you, the while to colonize in Texas? Do you feel that you fulfilled your dad's dream?
Yes, it was worth the while to fulfill my dad's dream.
Well, that's very interesting. As to why you came back to the land, we also heard that you guys have a bunch of slaves.
We need them for our economy and to help colonize Texas.
I see. So slaves will be the backbone of your economy?
Yes.
Aren't there people already in Texas?
Yes, but the population is small, and Mexico wants more people there.
How long has this trip to Texas taken you?
It took us 4 weeks to get here. We had arrived here on August 12th.
Huh.
Brady, there were actually 297 families. They just rounded up.
One last question. How safe is it here?
Well, Brady, it's pretty safe here. This place didn't even have locks. That's how safe it was.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Brady.
Now back to you, Gemma and Alex.
Well, you have it here, folks. That's all for the people colonizing Texas.
Come in next time for our next story on how the United States is taking in Texas and become a state.
Now it is time to go back to the Battle of the Alamo to interview Susanna Dickinson and Davy Crockett. But first we want to talk about the battle and the roles these people had in it. The Battle of the Alamo lasted 13 days long. The Texans and Mexicans fought until finally on the 13th day, all but 5 Texans were killed. Out of 183 volunteers of the Texan Army, 178 were killed in the battle. The 5 that survived were later executed from the rebellion.
Susanna Dickinson and Davy Crockett had a huge impact on the war. Susanna was a messenger in the war for Santa Anna, while David Crockett was fighting for the Texas Revolution. At one point, David Crockett stayed at the Dickinson's house at the border as a border. Now let's go over to Aiden, who's live right now with David Crockett and Susanna Dickinson. Over to you, Aiden.
Thanks, Blake. Now let's talk to Davy Crockett first. Now, Mr. Crockett, how big was your army compared to the Mexican army?
Unfortunately, our Texas Army was only made up of about 200 soldiers. Compared to the hundreds of Mexican troops, this was not ideal.
And how long were you able to defend the Alamo?
Although we were severely outnumbered by the Mexican Army, we managed to defend the Alamo for 13 days until we were overpowered by them.
Thank you for being here with us, and have a good rest of your day, Mr. Crockett.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
May you rest in peace. Now, Susanna Dickinson, when you first moved to Texas, when did you first move to Texas?
My family and I first moved to Texas in 1831. A few years later, in 1834, we had our only child, Angelina Dickinson.
When your house was broken into at the start of the war, what were you feeling and where did you go?
I felt very vulnerable, and I felt as if my safety had been threatened. Because our house was broken into, we moved to San Antonio in 1835. From there, my daughter and I took in boarders, including Davy Crockett. We also did the volunteers as laundry.
How were you involved in the Battle of Alamo?
I was sent by Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, also known as Santa Anna, to give a note from him to Sam Houston.
How interesting. So you were a messenger?
Yes, I was. I was also an eyewitness to many different things that happened in the war.
Thank you, Susanna Dickinson. Sadly, for the rest of the war, Susanna's activity is unknown, and Davy Crockett died fighting in the Alamo. That wraps it up, and I would like to say thank you both, Davy Crockett and Susanna Dickinson, for being here with us today. Back to you, Blake.
That's all for today, folks. Hope you all enjoyed it, and have a great rest of your day.
Good morning, America. Today we are taking a detailed look back in time at the most recent battle in the region of Texas. This battle has influenced westward expansion and created tension within our own country. It has also had a significant impact on the United States geography. In addition, the battle created rising tensions between Mexico and the U.S., which later turned into another war.
This battle took place in April 21st, 1836.
The two leaders being Sam Houston and Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna.
Sam Houston siding with Texas and Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna siding with Mexico. Hold on a minute there, Ron.
What's the problem now?
I'm getting told that our interviewer Travis is at San Isidro with Sam Houston and Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna right now.
Wonderful. I think we have talked enough about this event. Why don't we let the experts who are there at the battle explain what really happened? All right then, reporting live from San Josito. Take it away, Travis.
Thank you, Ron, for that amazing introduction. Anyways, I'm here live at San Josito with Sam Houston and Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Let's first talk about the Texan leader, Sam Houston, about his end of the battle. So, Sam, what really happened at the Battle of San Josito, from your point of view, of course?
Well, Travis, during the battle, Texas was against the Mexicans to try to get Texas to be independent. 650 Mexican soldiers were killed and 300 of them were captured. My army only had 9 men that died and 30 that suffered fatal wounds, but that was all. Because my army only lost 9 men, Santa Anna withdrew from Texas and later signed the treaty declaring our independence.
Fascinating. This leads me to my next question, and probably a question everyone's asking. How did you manage to pull it off? when the odds were against you?
Well, you know that battles are based on strategies. My strategy was to wait until I could get enough men to fight against more prominent Mexican armies. After I gained enough men, I snuck up on the Mexican camps with my men and made them remember the Alamo and remember Goliad. Since I did this, I was able to beat the Mexicans in 18 minutes. In those 18 minutes, I killed more than half of the Mexican army. Antonio Lopez then surrendered and we were victorious.
I really do believe that battles are not just about who comes out on top. It's about being strategic to outmaneuver and outsmart your opponent to then put your name on top as the victor. Anyways, I have one final question for you, Sam. In the short time the battle took place, did you ever have any doubt that you would fail or not succeed in defeating the Mexican army?
Personally, I was not expecting to come out on top because the Mexicans had a way bigger army than I did. But even if I didn't come out on top, I knew we had a good chance because we had way better strategy than they did. We mainly had the element of surprise, and that took them off guard. That then led us to being victorious.
That is very fortunate that you had the upper advantage with the element of surprise. If it weren't for that, then you might not have got the outcome that you got. Now let's talk to the leader of Mexican side, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. So Santana, what happened to you after the battle?
In about mid-May, I, who had been taken prisoner during the battle on April 26, signed a peace treaty at Vallejo, Texas, in which he recognized Texas independence in exchange for my freedom. However, the treaty was later abrogated and tensions built up along the Texas-Mexico border.
That is very interesting how you were not executed since you were technically a war criminal. Anyways, here's another question for you.
And what is that?
What did you think was going to happen to you after the battle? Like, what were your thoughts?
Personally, I thought I would have won the war because I had won the battles of the Alamo and Goliad. I did not expect this unusual attack from Sam. I was very clever, but I did not believe that a perfect army could defeat by one of a much smaller size. After the battle happened, I was for sure that I thought I was going to get executed. But seeing that the Texans believes in mercy and aren't savages, they let me live. In return for my safe freedom, I had to sign a treaty for them that declared them as an independent state.
Well, that is very unfortunate for you. I have one last question. What happened after you signed the treaty and you were released?
The treaty was rejected by both sides, so it never really took effect. I was then later released because I had made and signed the treaty. After that, I didn't bother Texans again. However, after they were annexed by the U.S., a war was declared between Mexico and the United States of America.
Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. The Battle of San Jacinto. Back to you, Ron.
Thank you, Travis. Well, the Battle of San Jacinto was a really big historical event.
It really was. Anyways, you've heard it here, folks. Good morning, America. Farewell, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, my name is Jennifer, and this is my co-newscaster, Karen. Today, Gary will be reporting live from the Alamo while interviewing Jean Seguin and William Travis. The Alamo defenders are outnumbered 35-1. The commanders requested reinforcements most every day, but none have arrived, and the Mexican siege lines have encircled them. It looks like the Texans are in a dire situation.
There has been a
devastating battle raging there. Nonetheless, we will still do our best to report on the scene, and we'd like to interview some of their prominent leaders to see their outlook on the battle.
Sending it over to you now, Gary.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hey guys, Garrett here today. I will be talking to Juan Seguin and William Travis this morning to see their viewpoints. So Juan, how is your horseback riding coming along?
My riding has been amazing. I rode throughout the Mexican siege lines to deliver letters that the commanders wrote requesting for more aid and letters from the defenders to their families.
Sounds good. I hope you all survive this battle and triumph over the Mexicans. Now, Travis, may I ask you the situation inside the Alamo?
The situation improves with each day as more men and supplies arrive. We are also constantly repairing the fort and battering its defense. We have 18 cannons and plenty of gunpowder, which we will use to shred the Mexicans when they choose to attack.
This sounds like it's coming along fine, but also like to ask, how are the men holding up?
My men need their sleep, and the constant cannon fire affects them too, but overall we are ready for battle.
Thank you. Back to you, Jennifer and Karen.
Thanks, Gary.
That's all for today, folks. Have a good night.